What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today when I talk to you about NIO, I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So NIO did have some pretty good momentum on Friday. A lot of people are going to be looking for that to continue going into this upcoming week. And in reality, you could see that because what just came out from China for inflation year over year, forecast was negative 0.4, came in at negative 0.7. Month over month, forecast was 0, actual negative 0.2. That is pretty much best case scenario that is possible. So essentially, that is going to really drive up all Chinese stock. So Monday should be a fairly interesting day, even though you are seeing kind of crypto pull back. So this essentially is a good indication of people's appetite for risk. So again, this could be an extension of what might happen to the American market, but with this data point right here, that is definitely going to draw a lot of big money to NIO. So that should, in among itself, really help. As far as American data, and again, I know I bring this up every single week, but the reason why I bring up American data for NIO is because of algorithmic trading. But Tuesday, you have JOLT numbers. Wednesday, you have CPI, PPI on Thursday, and then on Friday, Michigan consumer sentiment. So a lot of opportunity for the market to be somewhat relieved by the previous fear. So maybe move higher or potentially kind of escalate the fear. So should be a fun time, but in NIO's case, I think that's going to be a good thing. One thing that I was anticipating for it to come out, like whether it be a PR or unofficial news, but date of their earnings. So it now shows blank for Seeking Alpha. My other brokers I have all show different dates. So as far as the true date, it's anyone's guess. So most likely they'll be announcing it this week. I would guess. I would have thought last week, but nonetheless, that might be NIO's specific good catalyst, next big catalyst. Estimates right now are negative 33 cents for the earnings per share, 2.77 billion for revenue. So we'll just have to, again, wait and see what does come. But with them starting to kind of talk about expectations, it might be, again, coming fairly soon because there was a couple of things that did come out. One was this. So CEO talks about the delivery goal. So 20,000 for March, and that's for Envo, of course. So everyone, I think, is going to be holding their breath for March's numbers just to see if they actually do hit or not. Because if not, then anticipate quite the negative aspect pullback with the stock price itself. So that's should be coming soon, but the fact that they're reiterating it is quite positive. And the only other thing that has come out is this. So NIO's CEO saying that global scale expansion is likely to or unlikely to happen before 2025. And I think a lot of us kind of knew that. Even I did a video way back when, I guess it was announced in November, about 𝗪𝗪𝗡, if I'm saying that right. I have no idea why they would expand there. There's no infrastructure, no real demand from what we can calculate for NIO to really move there. Like UAE, I get it, which is a good thing, but 𝗪𝗪𝗡, like I don't know. There's a lot of just weird stuff that NIO, I don't know where they're getting their kind of data from and to justify that move. But I think in general, at least they're being more self-aware. That's maybe a good thing. At the same time, the fact that they're stating this could mean that they're already looking at their earnings. Maybe earnings per share might have been they might have lost a little bit more money than what they previously thought. So again, you can kind of read between the lines, but when it comes down to this upcoming week, 14.51% of the free float is being shorted. So that's what we're going into this upcoming week with. Works out to be 193.79 million shares overall are being shorted. Shorts did increase on Friday, 689,000 shares. Cost to borrow minimum is negative 0.2%. So that does mean that there is a broker out there physically trying to pay people to short NIO. Definitely pure signs of manipulation when it comes down to that. With NIO having a fairly strong close on Friday, but with it closing at 447, that does mean that the 450 strike prices and above do expire worthless. So that's kind of the downside. It would have been nice if it closed at 450 or above, because that would have had 25,000 in open interest just at that one strike. But nonetheless, 9,000 at that 4, 7,000 at that 350. So you might see a little bit of a bump up come Monday as market makers do try to rectify a lot of this. Going into this upcoming week, you have 4,000 at that 4, 11,000 at that 450, and then 21,000 at that 5. So if NIO come Friday is close to that 450 or even potentially that $5 range, you could see shorts get a little bit more active to try to suppress it, because they, alongside market makers, have a financial interest in bringing NIO down. And this is why at the same time you're seeing this, so that again, cost to borrow minimum being negative. So they're trying to drum up some business. So kind of crazy if you ask me, but with it at 447, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. So 418 will be a strong support. 460 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. I don't see this S1 being touched whatsoever, at least in the early part of the week. We'll wait and see what the kind of manipulation does come for NIO with, but 460 will be that next strong target. No recent analyst ratings or anything like that, but once they do announce their earnings, anticipate a whole new rush of them, and hopefully they're bullish. On Friday, we also do have Lee's earnings, so that could potentially extend over to NIO if they haven't obviously unveiled the earnings by that stage. But looking on the actual chart itself, because of Friday's nice push higher, it did close above that 50-day moving average, so that is sitting at $4.35. So yeah, it was a pretty kick-ass day on Friday, really pushing it higher. So that's going to be another key level to really watch for, is that 50-day moving average. Aside from that, the next strong target / resistance based on the moving averages is going to be that 100 and 200, sitting at 463 and 472. So given the recent data that did come out on a macro standpoint, we might see another push that happened at the end of February, so February 26th and 27th, where it does really push higher. So yeah, I think this week is going to be another kick-ass week for NIO, and based on this, it did close overall for the last week 0.9. So definitely is better than nothing from what it has been happening and what's been all this crazy crap with NIO. But let me know your general thoughts on NIO. Do you think that we're going to be moving higher? Do you think we're going to be moving lower? I think by the end of the week, we will be close to kind of roughly around that $5 range, around that R1. Again, given all the data points, assuming it all comes in line with expectations, and NIO's earnings, let's say, are unveiled and they come in no massive red flags, then yeah, I could definitely see this R1 close to being touched, but it's all going to come down to the data. So what's your general thoughts? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Hopefully everyone's having an amazing weekend thus far. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon to get buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolutely on point and bangers. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.